Hey there, friends. Looking more and more like the Quaker Oats guy here with the hair. You can get haircuts by appointment around here, but we're still in the middle of it, the COVID crisis. What I'm going to do this time is walk you through some slides. Speaking of the COVID crisis, here's like a snapshot of a reporting jurisdiction, as I call it. In other words, to gather data, you need to break it down into reporting jurisdictions. Now, my dad, he was a planner, and in addition to walking you through some slides here, I'm going to show you some vintage documents from the old days. These are not secret, these are not, they're just show and tell. Now, the only reason I'm showing her is her name is Erna Kirby Ann. Now, what are the chances of that, right? A Facebook thing that popped up. I just wanted to say that's not really me. In case you think Erna Kirby's a strange, or like there can't be too many of them. This one's not me, okay? Just in case you got confused, right? So here's the picture of the back of a van, and I'll pause here for telling you the story there and just show you the documents. Now, first, this is just kind of a funny one. I think it summarizes where my mom's coming from. A lot of the raging grannies, as they're called, who lived through this nonsense and still have to deal with these kind of dudes, right? So this is kind of a chuckle at the kind of the nursing home crowd, I guess. Then also what goes with this is another book. This is a more serious book. This is a comic book. This is a manga. This is long, long ago, kind of forgotten. You could say Russian philosophy. Now, I wouldn't say Russian philosophy, but you could say Russian philosophy. I mean, I wouldn't normally say that, but Ouspensky, right? And this is by a guy named Maurice Nicole, who lived in Scotland. Well, he got to the Middle East. He traveled around. So, a Jungian guy. Finally, okay, right. So this is a. Now, does this one have the Arabic in the back? No, or not in the back. Okay, so some of these, let me see if I have one. This is a plan from Libya, Ministry of Interior, General Department of Municipal Affairs, City of Seba, if I pronounce that correctly. And let's see, what else do we have? So this is when Dad worked in Rome and would commute to Tripoli and Libya. Here's Tripoli Inventory Report, Volume 9. And this is one of those that if you flip it around, then you get the whole text in Arabic. Right. So when was this? What's the year on this, right? And this is a company out of Omaha, 1967. What else? I think that's good. One more colorful, and then we'll get to the story of C60 in the back of the van here. Here's another one that has Arabic on the back. So this is from the golden age of America, you could say, when it was confident enough to not be like it is now, when it's all like trying to hold on, trying to be a superpower. Like this was before that. This is when people liked America more because it wasn't so stupid. And I grew up overseas and I enjoyed, I got the echoes of World War II for sure. Um, Stories. I got lots of stories, but let's not get too sidetracked. So the goal here is to assemble. Oops, I'm going backwards in time. I want to go forwards in time. Is to assemble a 92 ball hollow cube octahedron, right? So you know my curriculum, or if you don't, I've got so many YouTubes now, right? There's a big stash and there's websites, and it's not about me, right? This is a subculture in your country, if you live in America, in the world. And if you're just interested in subcultures, this is a subculture. If you've learned any sociology, a shorter word for subculture might be cult. But cult has a bad connotation on purpose. You attack things for being cults, whereas subcultures, you treat them with respect. But really, they're not that different. Ethnicity would be another word, but that again is not. And then if you want to confuse things, you can paint race on top of all that, which the Americans do most. Like, here's a writing challenge: write 1,000-word essay about racism, but you must not mention the United States or whites or blacks. Okay, just that's not going to be part of it. You're going to talk about racism, though. Make sure you follow those instructions just for a test to see if the concept is even robust outside of this historical context here. So, what we're doing is we're keeping our social distance, we're wearing masks. Dr. D has a mask. He's just got a little bit. You see there, Sam and Glenn have masks on, as do I. And this is all very a party like atmosphere because it's X Day, which is a subgenius holiday. It comes right after July 4th, which was also a holiday. So it's two back-to-back holidays. And there's Sam leaving. He didn't stay long. This was just a delivery, right? He's a very on track kind of guy. Now that came pre-assembled pretty much like that. And so, Dave took the opportunity to treat it as a recliner. And I'm up on the deck. This is not a drone shot. I live in a house that has a deck, and so I can get shots like this of the backyard. Okay. Bought this house in '95. I just had it looked at. I'm trying to get it sold to like part of a university network would have, faculty, students, like Quaker Volunteer Service. You travel around to different towns, and there are certain houses owned by the school that you get to stay in because you go to that school. And I go to this school, but there's houses of this school elsewhere, like say Singapore or whatever, right? Maybe in a skyscraper, 47th floor kind of scene. And then in Portland, you got this old wooden house, which is a very cool house. There's from July 4th. Where there's our old friend there. You've seen a lot of this before if you've been checking out my sort of Buddhist Tibetan home, because our family history in Bhutan, right? Family history in Libya, I was just showing you, but then from there it went on to the Philippines, Egypt, Bangladesh, Bhutan, and Lesotho. Lesotho is surrounded by South Africa. So I was in all those places, but not, my dad was the breadwinner in those places. I was the visitor after the Philippines, which is where I went to high school. So my house is all tricked out with evidence of these travels. Plus, I have on loan a whole lot of scholarly books. So this really is, right, a university kind of a building. I got more books on Wittgenstein or Nietzsche here than probably most libraries. Even good college university libraries may not equal my collection on loan of Wittgenstein and the Nietzsche books. Now, they're not all hardcover. And but if you came here and you stayed here, you could read like crazy for a year and still have a lot more to read. And then, of course, the Buckminster Fuller books. What I do in philosophy is I connect Wittgenstein and Bucky Fuller, right? Applewhite liked that I was doing that. It has to do with aspect shifts, seeing things differently. And that can be helpful when you're building these kind of C60 structures. We did break out a couple beers. Again, it was X Day. And here's a little cuboctahedron. We'd call that a one frequency, right? It's just got one interval and it's got 12 balls. There's 13 balls actually. There's 12 around, one in the middle. Okay, so that's a one frequency. Then there's the two frequency, and what I'm building now is the three frequency. In the next video, we'll look at the completed C60. There's another one frequency. It's getting grown over. Now, it looks like it's been there a long time to have that much growth, but you'd be amazed. You can pretty much almost see things growing here at the Blue House, we call it. So there, like I say, there's sort of a cosmopolitan international, back when America was great, Baga or something, right? I don't know exactly. There's me shooting my mirror. People's Republic of Portland, keep Portland weird, right? So this would be like your guest room were you to come in the remodeled version of this, right? So we've gutted it probably to some degree, at least upgraded it somehow. New roof probably, and I'm not the owner. I'm in circuit, right? Part of this network of houses, and I might be in Singapore at this point, right? Who knows? But I come back, of course, I'm nostalgic, and more than that, Portland's a center, right? In fact, I'm here right now in Portland, and I'll end with a storefront that is now open if you would like it between now and November. Now, this is another video and another story. It's part of what we call the Linus Pauling campus, which used to be just one integral property owned kind of as a unit, but has since been subdivided into what are the more logical subunits. And the middle property, which you're looking at on the left, became a body art or tattoo parlor in the more vulgar way of saying it. It really does a lot more than tattoos. It's piercings of all kinds, body art. Adorn, great place, highly recommend it. I haven't done anything in there, but it's been a bookstore in the past as well. And adjacent to it, on the right, is the boyhood home of Linus Pauling, 2 times Nobel Prize winner, someone Oregonians don't know enough about and aren't proud enough of because we kind of downplay things around here almost to a fault. And it's got this amazing mural. And this building that the mural is on is across from a bank and is now open for like some kind of high visibility reason because there's a lot of glass and it's a busy intersection. So why would you want to rent this until November when the next owner takes over? Those kind of questions. So I'm just throwing that out locally. That's more for, and then this is the roof inspection. And I blogged about this too. And I'm like, hey, what do we want to do about this network, right? So the curriculum, you can read back and look at the earlier YouTubes. And I talk more about virology a little bit somewhere back there because you may have gotten here because of the synergetics virology connection. So that would be a small percent of you. But, it's here. I downplay it to some degree because I don't want to overhype synergetics and I don't want to oversell C60 either. Just want to show you how it makes really cool artwork in front of my house. And I did put this on the little neighborhood application. You know how neighbors talk around on the internet and by zip code. And this went out to several zip codes, my explanation of this. So I've had more traffic, more people looking at it. But that's not what we're building in the back. This is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frequency tetrahedron. I'm building I think a 3 frequency cube octahedron in the backyard. And I'll show you that in a future video. All right, hang in there, guys. Talk to you soon.